Carolina Panthers, man, 2021. Expectations versus reality. Go ahead and give it to me.
Man, the expectations for the 2021 Carolina Panthers are very high and bright. I mean, they've got Sam Darnold. He's having a prove-it season. He spent the beginning part of his career with the Jets with zero weapons, terrible coaching, just a bad franchise. He's gotten a bad rap, so they're expecting him to come in, a lot more stability, a healthy CMC. Like, they're really looking to push for a wild card, second place in the division, and I think a 9-8 record is what their expectation would be. So I think it would be a very successful season coming off of a 5-11 campaign last year. The reality, their expectations are actually reasonable, especially in Rule's second year. Everywhere Matt Rule has been, they have had a very mediocre beginning campaign, and in year two, he has completely turned the program around. Granted, we are talking about colleges. Every place that he's been, his second season has been a winning season and a complete turnaround. So, I mean, with Matt Rule, with Joe Brady, you bringing in Sam Darnold, a healthy Christian McCaffrey. I mean, the Panthers do have some promise. Against the NFC East, Dallas, New York, Philly, Washington, I got them 2-2. I think they really will hold their own. Against the AFC East, I think the way that their team is, like the way their team is put together, and the fact that Sam Darnold spent his whole career playing against these teams, I think they'll go 1-3. I think they'll beat the Jets. The Dolphins, the Bills, and the Patriots all have defenses that are good enough to stuff Sam Darnold, especially seeing as how they have that level of familiarity with him having spent his whole career with the Jets.
Yep.
I think that's a horrible draw for him. And they get the they get the Houston Texans, the Arizona Cardinals, and the Minnesota Vikings for their 3 division games. I think they'll go 2-1 in that stretch. And against the division, I got them getting swept by Tampa and splitting games with New Orleans and Atlanta for a record of 7-10, tying the Atlanta Falcons at 7-10. And I think the tiebreaker will end up going to the Carolina Panthers.
All right.
So I got the Panthers at second, the Falcons at third. Both to 7-10.
My Saints at fourth.
6-11. You'll have one team with a historically great record, 16-1. The other 3 teams, bad. Strength of schedule, I think, is a farce this season, just because of the fact that the NFC East, their records were so bad, and all those teams were decimated.
You can't really play them
Washington has a great
into it.
defense. Dallas has pretty much retooled. The Giants they were hurt by injury, and Philly will not be as bad as they were. So the strength of schedule, I can throw it out the window.
Right, because it's almost like you can't, account for them when you play into it.
It's just based off of records.
Right. Carolina Panthers, before we wrap up the show, we're about 5 minutes until the top of the hour, guys. So Christian McCaffrey last year, he suffered a really gruesome injury early on. I want to say that was week 2. Like, him and Saquon went down. It was, 2 of the best running backs in the game going down.
Yep.
The Panthers expect him to come bursting out of the gate. CMC's a very strong guy, very committed, dual threat, one of the best running backs. We don't have to sit here and, really hash out what CMC brings to the game. But I know the fans expect him to be busting out of the gates because they need him. He's a vital part of that offense. Now, J.C. Horn being taken at 8th overall, that was like the first shock for you and I outside of Trey Lance. Like, Kyle Pitts was a shock, but not really, because I was like, Atlanta's probably going to be stupid and do it, and they did. But J.C. Horn at number 8, I was like, wow, that's a high pick for a corner. And, like, some people weren't, some people had Surtain above him, which, the way it fell, Surtain went right after him, right? Number 9 to the Broncos. So that was, I guess, give or take. But they want J.C. Horn to step up. 8th overall, they need some help with that passing defense. And, in an NFC South where you've got, passing attacks between the Falcons, the Saints, and the Bucks, you're going to need some secondary out there to at least stay alive in this division if you want to have any chance at it. And then also, they're going to want to gain some ground on finding this franchise quarterback, because they knew Teddy wasn't it. They know Sam Darnold's not it. There was rumors about maybe Justin Fields falling to them, or if Trey Lance did, or Mac Jones, or whatever it could have been. At one point, we heard about a lot of these quarterbacks going to a lot of different places. And I really thought Carolina could have had a chance to make a play. Hell, maybe even for Deshaun Watson before, everything went south for him. But when you're looking at the reality for the Carolina Panthers, I do think that Christian McCaffrey comes back strong. I have no doubt about that. We know he's rehabbing. We know he's going to be a strong running back coming back. And like I said, the Panthers seriously need him for that part of the offense. And you have your receiving core as well. And you're going to have Darnold. But, I mean, they live and die by CMC. There's no question he is their best player on that team. Now, I think Sam Darnold is going to be wildly inconsistent with the Panthers this year, kind of like he was with the Jets. And, you know, crazy enough, he does have what feels like a coaching upgrade and I would say a defensive upgrade. And obviously, I mean, it's upgrades in every aspect for Sam Darnold. I mean, look where he's coming from with the New York Jets. But you do still have Matt Rule as a second-year head coach. And you're going to wonder, how is he going to fit into that scheme? Because we did hear some people say there kind of were similarities between that Carolina team and between the New York team. But to me, they're pretty damn opposite once you take a look into it. And you're going to want Sam Darnold to be able to put the, I'm seeing ghost thing behind him. I mean, you know, new coach, upgraded every aspect. It's kind of like in the Stafford situation. We've heard about your potential, Darnold. We've heard about what people have said about you, and you were taken with a fairly high pick. Now let's see if you can perform. We've got you in a situation. We've got you completely in a different conference. I mean, we relocated you, bro. We're putting it at your disposal, so we'll see what happens with it. But the Panthers as well, more than likely a fourth-place team, because when you look at the talent of them compared to everyone else and the coaching with them as well does concern me. So we'll see at the end of the day what happens with this Carolina Panthers team.